Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to our podcast today. These podcasts are brought to you in part by our sponsors, who really truly are what make these podcasts possible every week. O'Fallon Nutrition is a company that I've worked with for over 15 years. They're independently owned and operated, located here in O'Fallon, Missouri, right off of Highway K and Mexico Road. I call this place the Whole Foods of St. Charles County, but even if you are not located on this side of the river, it is still worth the drive. I can remember working all the way down at Powerhouse and still sending people out to O'Fallon Nutrition for their supplements. They are more than a supplement company. You can get grass-fed beef, salad dressing, seasoning for your cooking, hair care products, makeup, deodorant, toothpaste, essential oils, and all the vitamins and minerals that you can think of. If you're looking for clean, whole food nutrition, as well as home care, house care, skincare products, O'Fallon Nutrition is your place. You can take a look at them at o'fallonnutrition.com, or if you'd like to have something shipped, if you're listening to me from outside of St. Louis, you can certainly have items shipped. I know they do free shipping if it's an order over $50, and the phone number is 636-240-5283. Again, it's o'fallonnutrition.com. As well as if preparing your food on a weekly basis is your primary excuse for why you're not able to stay on a good, clean eating program, which is something that I hear very regularly from my clients, I would ask you to please take the time to check out Pure Plates. It's pureplatesstl.com. They are a phenomenal place. We get our food from there during the week. They deliver to our Integrity location. They will deliver to your house. They also are just available for pickup. You can go to their Chesterfield location or their Kirkwood location and just pick up meals for the day, as well as just having them delivered right to your door. So if preparing your food is your main excuse for why you cannot stay on a healthy eating program, then I would suggest just stop by Pure Plates. Just try it. If you're trying to lower your blood pressure, you're trying to lower your cholesterol, you're trying to get your blood sugar down, try to do Pure Plates meals for a week and just see how different you feel. These are organic meals. They are gluten-free. If you need them to be, they can be dairy-free. They are soy-free. You're not taking any processed sugars or meat curing agents or preservatives. They really, truly believe in nutrient-dense meals that are just whole food nutrition. And I've had my clients, or I've made recommendations for my clients for years at Pure Plates. It's pureplatesstl.com, or you can call them to ask questions at 636-778-3555. Again, remembering that they have a location in Chesterfield as well as in Kirkwood that you can just run by and pick up a meal today. Everyone always asks me where I get my meat from, and given that I really eat meat on a daily basis, typically beef primarily, my meat is very important to me. I have an autoimmune condition and I want grain-free, corn-free meat, and I just haven't found the confidence in stores in knowing that I'm getting 100% grass-fed, grass-finished beef. And I have searched and searched and searched for the right farm, and I have found the farm. It's fedfromthefarm.com, fed, F-E-D, from thefarm.com. These farmers are amazing. It's a family. They're here in Missouri, and they have the desire, just like I do, to see people well and to see people healthy, and they put a lot into what they do. It's such a wonderful family to support. They do offer 100% grass-finished, grass-fed, meaning that's it. A beef, and I get my ribeyes, I get my ground beef, my ground sirloin, I get my chuck roast. I mean, they basically have everything. They even have awesome jerky, but they also have eggs, they have chickens, and they have turkey. I'm planning on getting a turkey for Thanksgiving, and if you'd like lamb, they have that as well. But if you are in need of good quality grass-fed, grass-finished beef, or quality eggs, chicken, turkey, don't just settle for what you're getting at the local store. to go out on the internet and check out Fed from the Farm. That you can arrange a pickup or you can have it delivered to your home. And I can guarantee you're going to taste the difference. For me, my health actually depends on it. So I really thank God to have found such a great farmer. Fedfromthefarm.com. I hope it blesses you.
Welcome to Faith, Fuel, and Fitness, the Integrity Way, with your hosts, John and Debbie Morris from Integrity Training Systems.
Hey everybody, it's great to be back in the studio. I am in here without my husband this week. However, I do have some special guests, and I'm super excited to have Josh and Rauchel here with KBUILD Construction Company. These two are very special to me. I've known them for years, and this isn't just about a professional working relationship. These guys are friends of mine and people that I respect dearly. And I feel so thankful to offer a show like this because we spend so much of our time really working on encouraging, inspiring, and just developing people. And I think that this particular show, if you happen to be listening, you want to make sure you bookmark it because you are going to appreciate some of the knowledge that you get from these two successful individuals. So KBUILD Construction Company, both Josh and Rauchel are here. They have done some work on our home, but they have done amazing work all over the St. Louis area, St. Charles County, everywhere. The craftsmanship is amazing. Josh has been a member of probably every gym that I have been a part of for at least the past 15 years, not the past 25 years, but the past 15 years. And I've watched his company develop for that time, and it's just been remarkable. The attention to detail that you guys put in your work is tremendous, and I just appreciate you both coming on. It's great to have you both.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting us. We're happy to be here today.
Great. So we always start our show, and for those of you that have not heard of KBUILD, I highly doubt there's many of you out there. Please take a look at them at kbuildit.com, or on Instagram or Facebook you can take a look at KBUILD Design. So we start our segments always, for all of our listeners, talking about the definition of being a warrior, and that definition is a brave or experienced soldier. So I love having guests on because it's one thing to hear John and I talk about this. We kind of have a similar message, and if you listen to us every week, you start to really get a flow with how we feel. But I like bringing on other folks that have different struggles or have endured, different challenges maybe than what John and I have. And I love the way you guys flow through your business and the way you guys flow through your life. But just because everything looks great doesn't mean you haven't endured some hardship along the way for that success. And I just would love to know, how do you endure hardship and how do you go through struggle strong?
I know for myself, you're refined when you're under pressure. That's when you really can work some pretty big kinks out. And as you are put under the pressure, there's two different ways. You can just let the pressure crush you, or you can step up to the plate and give the pressure some pressure back. And so for me, it's about also not letting up in those moments that I know when you feel the most knocked down and you want to just collapse. I've been there lots of times in the last 20 years of my career. And the fight is you just keep going and pushing, and most of the time I find that if I will give it enough push back on the other side of that thing, I can actually be the one that can topple it over, but it just feels bigger than me in those moments.
Right, that's good. That's very good, absolutely. And I think the pressure sometimes can feel like you don't have what it takes to push back, like you're not strong enough, and the enemy can come in and actually try to convince you otherwise. But I think you guys have proven time and time again that that's not the case. Josh, what does it take for you to stay strong?
Mental toughness.
Yeah?
Yeah, you got to be mentally stronger than when you run a company and you have a lot of employees and you deal with a lot of people. I would say that any business owner I've talked to, once you've gotten past the early stages of business, trying to find business, make money, and then you start growing your team, that your biggest challenge is people. And whether it's customers, employees, teammates, whatever,
All of
partners, all
right
of it.
together.
Yeah, and so like if you're not the solid one, if you're not the one that never wavers, if you're the one that wavers, just like we all do, but if you don't stay educated, healthy with your foods, with your mindset, with what you're putting in your body, all of that stuff, you're gonna just collapse with the rest of them.
Absolutely.
And then when you collapse, guess what happens? Your company collapses, or your surrounding, or your family. And so there's a lot of pressure on leaders that other people don't see, and that's one of the biggest things. So we actually hired a mental toughness coach 5 years ago.
That's good.
And so that helped us a lot to really build that mental toughness side. I mean, he's world renowned now, Ben Newman, for Alabama, K-State. He's with all these professional athletes. He teaches these people, so he instilled that into me and Rauchel. I started this challenge with him called the Unrequired. Now it's been 1,300, and I don't even have to look.
It's worse than most people's workout, and it's like his pre-workout.
Right.
It's
right.
It's 1,343 days straight now. It was a 1,000-day challenge, and so. But I would tell you that I can't tell you that there's like one thing that made me millions of dollars off of that. But if you look back over the course of it, and you look how much you've accomplished, it's just that little bit at a time, going at it every day, like Rauchel said, just getting back up, getting back up, getting back up, staying stronger than your surroundings. I think the reason what I do is I if you want to model somebody, you can always model God, right?
Right.
So God never wavers, and so if you model God to the best of your ability, because we can never be perfect, but you model him to the best of your ability, he never wavers, and that's why the Bible is the best-selling book of all times. That's why there's so many churches everyone rely, because he never wavers. So no matter what the economy is doing, the political parties are doing, any of that, it's like, guess what? He never wavers. And so if you can try to live to the closest you can or the best you can to that,
yes,
and you don't waver as a leader when things go horribly wrong.
Also in those moments, that's where you can find your strength, because, I mean, the Bible makes us promises about him being strong when we're weak.
Right.
A lot of it is trusting him and giving it up to rely on him in those moments.
I mean, isn't that...
Because we're all going to have
I
that.
know for me personally, and completely, I'd love to hear what you guys think, but that's where I found my faith. I mean, I can tell you there were plenty of years where I didn't have faith. I was just relying on muscle, and I got me a little ways, you know what I mean? But then I sank. I mean, something really big came, and I wasn't strong enough for the storm. And then that is when the underbelly finally built a foundation. Like, I found a firm foundation, and it came through faith. And that is truly how I personally endure hardship, is exactly what you said, is I look at that word every day, and that's my guide.
Yeah.
That's my navigator.
It's really the hope on the other side of it, because I've been through some pretty tough things with my family in regard to health and accidents and things like that. I think most people have those stories.
Yes.
At this point in our life, I'm 37, so I've been through a lot. I don't even feel like I'm that old. So, across the board, people just have gone through so much as they get older. And the Bible promises that there will be hardships. But the only hope is him. It's Jesus, because on the other side of that thing, I know that through the challenges that I've gone through, that there is always another side of it. And so if you can stand on him as the strength to get you through it, then there's always going to be the other side, though.
Right. It's funny because I was listening to it's a podcast earlier today, and they were talking about, things that trigger you. And so he's talking about a song that triggers him, and it kind of gets him in a different mindset. So whenever I need to get triggered, I always listen to this song that says, "Keep hope alive." But really, it's just talking about that Jesus keeps hope alive. And at the end of the day, really, that's the only hope that I'm concerned with. And when we come back from this break, I want to talk a little bit about purpose and building a foundation with our purpose, and just how lost we can be if we don't actually have that purpose. And with what all we've said today, I just want to encourage you that if you are in a situation where you're battling, that there is hope. Number one, there's hope in Jesus, and that you're not alone. And if we can help you in any way to create those patterns of discipline, or to set yourself up stronger, both physically, mentally, training, and just really just getting you on a different trajectory with your life, please take a look at us at integritytrainingsystems.com. For a personal fitness assessment with any of our personal trainers, you can give us a call at 636-299-2208. And for information on a 6-month nutrition program with myself or our online master's nutrition program, please sign up for more information at integritytrainingsystems.com. For nutrient-dense, gluten-free, dairy-free baked goods delivered to your doorstep, please take a look at us at sophiesbakery.com. And don't forget to check Josh and Rauchel out at KBUILD Design or kbuildit.com, and we'll be right back. Hey everybody, it's great to be back. I'm excited to be in the studio with Josh and Rauchel here from KBUILD Design, KBUILD Construction Company. And yes, I know that this is a health and wellness show, and we're not talking about construction today. But the reason that I have Josh and Rauchel on the show is because they're amazing people. I've known them for years, and really they inspire me. And as a leader, which, Josh was talking in the first segment, it's not easy being a leader. And I have been leading people, from a fitness perspective for over 20 years. Actually, I've been leading clients for over 25 years, but I've been leading personal trainers and, health coaches and staff, and, I have had a staff for many, many years. And you're right, it is not easy being a leader, and you need to be the one that doesn't waver. And what I have found that has sort of provided Integrity Training Systems a firm foundation is that I have a very clear, concise vision of what God's called me to do and why I'm here. Okay, and I can't tell you, there wasn't always a time where I felt that way. I mean, there was plenty of years where, first of all, I first started out in finance. I mean, it had nothing to do with personal training, and I passed out on my driveway one night, got taken to the hospital in an ambulance, and I spent the next 2 years trying to stay alive. And in that process, that's when I started studying nutrition. So that's why I do what I do for a living. Mm-hmm. I was trying to make general partner at the firm that I was working at. And I just wanted to be a millionaire because I was managing people's money. Sure. So this isn't what I thought I was going to be doing. And then God showed me a different way. And then my desire became to please Him in all that I was doing. And what I found is that, if you're wavering on really truly believing in what you do and who you do it for, your execution is really going to be weak. You're just not going to be strong with what you do. And so I used this quote in my staff meeting last week. It says, ownership in the mission makes it difficult to make excuses. Failure of execution comes when you truly don't take ownership of your purpose and the ultimate mission that God has you on. A lot of us never truly accomplish our mission because we're not really being honest and sincere about what our motives and desires are. We're simply saying what we think people want to hear and what people want us to do. So how did you guys get to a place to where you secured your purpose, you secured this plan, and you just really passionately went after it? And how do you help other people do that?
Well, that's an ongoing journey. I
Right?
don't know if I've ever... I don't think there's an answer
We
to that.
certainly haven't arrived.
Yeah, we have not arrived. Some people looking from the outside might think so. I feel like after 24 years in business, with what we've accomplished so far, that it's still like the very first day. There is no business plan that works out perfectly. I mean, I have never met an entrepreneur that says, "Oh, we made a plan, we stuck to the plan, and this is the end result." Like, they're so like.
Actually, my least favorite thing to do is to write a business plan.
Me too.
Whenever the bank asks me that, I'm like, "Oh, for the love of all things holy! Like, can I just sit with you and tell you what I think we can do?" Yeah.
and so, because just like you said, your plan was finance. You ended up in fitness, so you can have any plan you want. but it just ends up going a different way.
Right.
So
Right.
I don't know how to answer that question. I don't have an answer for that. It's
I
still
see.
figuring it out every day. Our purpose is now, I have found out, I thought it was construction when I started as a company, and now kind of like you, it's become just entrepreneurship and helping people. Because my purpose in construction is to leave a legacy in St. Louis, because we get to build some of the neatest things in this entire city. If you look at some of the stuff we've been able to build, they're all one of a kind. It's stuff that we're leaving a mark, behind. And the cool part is that we film it all. So we get to go back and we're documenting our lives.
Yes.
My kids can watch it. All of the guys on our team and their families can watch it. We're on every platform. You can go to YouTube, which my kids love. Turn on KBUILD YouTube channel. They can watch days because we film it all.
Right.
So, remember when your dad give you the old fish story? Like, I caught a fish this big,
Right,
and you're like,
right,
prove
right,
it, Dad,
right,
prove
right,
it, right?
right.
Or you would hear your dad or your grandpa talk about all the cool things you've done.
Right.
Like they've done in their careers, and oh man, I did this and I built that, or I did this, and you would like, man, that'd have been cool to see. You can hear the story that was told, but now I'm actually documenting it daily.
Right.
That's why we have a full video team, like media team now, because we can go back and I can see it. I forget what I did 5 years ago, and I can go watch it on YouTube.
Right.
And it's so cool.
And I think that if you looked back in that movie of your life that you've been recording, you would see that, you, just as you said, you want to leave a legacy. And what do you want to leave a legacy for? Because you want to be the master in this area of craftsmanship. You want to offer a product that's just so far above everything else, and you do. And so every project that you take on, you refuse to take it on unless you think you can offer that.
Well, the standard in our company is excellence.
Right.
And the standard in the world's so low.
Right.
And so I feel that it's our duty as great entrepreneurs and business owners is for all the people that have fought for this country, that have built great companies. The reason America is where it's at is so it's our duty to continue that.
Right.
And you see so many people slacking, like companies, the poor customer service.
Right.
And that's not who we are.
Right.
There's very few companies, but they're out there, and there's becoming more and more of them that are trying to be better. We model first form. That's just, why you don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
They do such a great job at that.
And I think modeling is important.
Yeah.
I think that cue is very good. Is what are you watching and who are you spending time around?
Totally different business, but that's what everyone gets confused. You don't have to mock a construction business. Find a company that's doing such a great job,
right? And
just do what they do in your field.
In your field, exactly.
And try to be the best at it, because it's our job to raise the standard in America, in my opinion, to make us. That's
Strong
why
man.
we are such a great country,
right?
Because of entrepreneurs. Like, we built all of these things, meaning not me, but all the great companies.
I want to talk a little bit about goals and standards when we come back. So I want to get back onto that topic, and I want to come back and I want to talk a little bit about the difference between goals and the difference between standards. But I love the fact that you mentioned modeling, because in the fitness industry, what I found is that, a lot of people want to model what they see. They want to model this person that looks like this exceptional bodybuilder. But then when they actually dig down deep and they see what it takes, this unrequired that you've been doing, all of the different hours, the showing up at the gym at 5 a.m., they often don't want to really take it quite to that level. And it's not about achieving goals at that point. It's about setting different standards. And as a trainer at Integrity, we set a different level of standard for our client. And so that's what I want to talk about a little bit when we get back. For more information on a 6-month nutrition program with myself or our online master's program, you can take a look at us at integritytrainingsystems.com, or to set up a free personal fitness assessment with any of our personal trainers, you can give us a call at 636-299-2208. For nutrient-dense, gluten-free, dairy-free baked goods delivered to your doorstep, take a look at us at sophiesbakery.com. everybody. Good to be back. We're in the studio with Josh and Michelle from KBUILD Construction Company. If you haven't taken a look at them, it's kbuildit.com and KBUILD Design on Instagram and Facebook. And I know, Michelle, last topic we were talking about is just owning your purpose and really trying to discover, kind of what's that path God's called you on. Obviously, it's ever-changing. But I really would love to hear from you on that.
So I think, it is a journey, and I think we're supposed to enjoy the journey. I think a lot of people get caught up in there, like, bogged down by the idea of how heavy the weight of everything is. But Josh and I have always looked at life a little bit differently, in that, it's kind of like a game. And so you're going to win some, you're going to lose some.
Right.
You can't take it too seriously, but if you don't have some strategy, if you don't build any skill, it's going to be a lot harder for you to beat other people that do. And so, in regard to life, I think, you can't look at it like too much pressure, because it is ever moving and changing, and things happen in your life that change your whole projection, right? Just with you and your job change and that kind of thing. But for me, I think the main thing is understanding that God put a gift inside of every person, and it doesn't matter what you've gone through or how hard it is, no one can take it from you. Is the beauty of it.
That's right.
And so that gift is there, and so your gift is something that, or the things that happen in your life, or your characteristics that kind of show up that are, I think, directing you towards that gift, are things that you're better at than other people, things that come easier to you than other people. I'm certainly never going to be some kind of tech genius. I'm not. That is not my gift. I can barely connect my printer to my computer.
I'm right there with you. Yes, I'm happy to use my phone on a daily basis.
As a child, I was drawing layouts of, a space that I wanted to set up tables for a birthday party.
Right.
Or drawing out what a bathroom. Mom, it would be so cool if we could just change this layout around. Or if we got some new furniture, I always wanted to think about what did that space look like. And so that was since I was a kid. Then when I was really little, all I wanted to do was be a mother. So, thank you, God.
Yes.
I'm a mom.
Yes.
But, when it comes to the things that are in my career and in my heart, and things that are ingrained in me that really make me love my work every day, it's hard to love your work every day if you don't like what you do. But what if you were pretty good at it? That helps to like it and things like that. And so I think it's important to be on a path to not search for what makes you happy. But there is a fulfillment in accomplishing things that have to do with these gifts that God gave us.
I always love listening to Steve Harvey talk about your gift and finding your gift, and he cracks me up. He talks about Colonel Sanders, and he's like, that guy made chicken better than anyone. That was his gift. And it's like, you're right, and he did something with it, So another one of the reasons why I have Josh and Michelle on is because, obviously they're in the gym. I mean, if you do know them, they're both very fit. And, I am all about helping people to achieve the look. Okay, I've been working at doing that for many, many years. I've helped people get in on magazine covers. I've helped professional athletes. But then I've also helped people not to die. I've run the gamut of things that I've done. But what I like about Josh and Michelle is that this is a lifestyle. And so what I've noticed in bodybuilding, and I've worked in the bodybuilding industry for over 20 years, it's so empty if you're not creating a lifestyle out of it. If it's chasing a goal of a show, and then at the end of the show, we're just right back to being unhealthy, what did we actually do it for? So I'd like to just like to open up the topic of goals and standards for you guys. For us at Integrity, I've always taught my trainers that it was important that we had a personal and a professional creed, and that we have to have a code of ethics that we follow. Maybe that means that we don't lean on equipment, we don't drink on the floor. If we're thirsty, we drink. I gave my trainers a 10-minute break in between. They don't do hour-long sessions, they do 50-minute sessions, so they can eat, they can drink, they can lean, they can sit, they can do whatever they want during that 10 minutes. But then when they're on the floor, they're completely focused on the trainer, and it's or on the client, and it's all about getting change. And then, ultimately, ultimately, I've led a code of ethics to where we need to live it. We need to not bring bad food into our gym. We need to be focused on what we are trying to apply to these clients. And I noticed that the two of you, that's what you've put in place, not only for your business, but for you personally. You both really strive to achieve goals, but to really set yourselves up to a higher standard. And I think you do the same for your employees.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no one's going to do it for you.
That's right.
And so...
That's exactly right.
Like I said, it's my job as a leader of a family and my companies to stay, mentally stronger and physically harder than anybody else that's in my team, because you're supposed to be the leader.
Right.
And it is so easy to let... I heard a really good explanation, so I'll do it in the cleanest way possible. But if you have...
Thank you.
If you, it's kind of like this. If you take a super just perfectly filtered cup of water, crystal clear, beautiful drinking water, and you just sit it right here, and someone's so thirsty, and then you pick up a little bitty piece of poop, just the smallest little, and you put it in there, you just ruin, no one's going to drink that.
Right.
Just drink it. It's just a little bitty piece.
Right.
And then you think about that. No one would drink that if they watched you do that. They're so thirsty, and you just watched them put a piece of poop in your water.
Right.
And then... So think about what people take in their bodies 24/7,
right?
And then think about what they put in their minds, what they watch, what they listen to, and that's the same thing. If you won't drink a cup of water because it just had the speck of dog poop in it,
right,
on purpose. Well, think about how much, but that's one time. What about you do daily,
day in and out, right?
I have, the health is a big deal in construction. Guys' knees go bad quickly.
Yes.
Just so many things that I watch my team go through.
Just break down.
Then I watch what they consistently consume at lunch.
Yes.
And I try so hard to be the example.
Yes.
About what I eat and all that. So I'm 45. I'm in the best shape of my personal life. And I always have heard, I've got 4 kids. I run 3 businesses. And you don't have time, or whatever.
Right.
But that's not true. It's just not a priority. And so, I know you can't defy age, but I'm 45. I'm in better shape than I was when I was 30. When I was 30, I worked out when I was 20. I've never stopped. But I decided, the nutrition is the biggest part of it. I feel the best. I look best for me. And so, and I just don't get it. I plan on being in better shape when I'm 55.
Right, and it's just that it's that edge, and there are people out there that are trying to shortcut the edge. Unfortunately, it's like I want to get to this goal. I'm going to do this diet, and they'll put themselves through all this pain and all this struggle. But at the end of the day, if you just kind of change those standards and a little, alter that code for yourself, that creed for yourself, and say, I won't put poop in my glass. I will not drink that water. Right. Okay, I'm not going to go that direction. Mm-hmm. I will eat clean food. It doesn't, it can still taste great. It doesn't have to be boiled chicken and broccoli, but I will not put toxic ingredients in my body. Watch and see how you feel every day.
We are feeling so great. We're doing 75 hard right now, and the diet that we are on is a clean foods diet.
It's a whole
foods diet, right? So if we cannot read the name of the ingredient, I certainly don't know what it is, and therefore I don't know what I'm putting in my body. So I
know what it is, right?
am choosing things that I know what is going in my body, and it's the best that I've ever felt. I've done 4 or 5 bodybuilding shows now, the competitions, and the diets were very different, more stringent, and so this is better. I feel like healthier.
It's sustainable.
It's
right.
sustainable. And really, goals versus standards, I'll take it to a different level and say you have to have standards over feelings.
Right.
And so, yes, to reach your goals, you have to have standards, but ultimately to achieve those standards, you have to beat the feelings.
Yes.
And it is crazy for me, and I'm not different than anybody. I'm just, a kid from St. Charles.
Right.
Who didn't come from much.
Who has 4 kids.
Who has 4 kids and several businesses.
Right.
I've got a lot on my plate. I have a mother that's very sick right now that I have to help. And, there's a lot that goes into just living. I don't care who you are. But the thing is that I feel like when I make up my mind, and when anyone can, if you make up your mind and just say, you know what, I'm not going to be like this anymore.
Right.
there's a change, there's a shift in that. And that's all it takes is that moment and that decision, and not like a wavering, like, all right, I'm over this and I'm going to think about it.
Yes.
Or I'm over this and I'm going to plan for it. Like Josh said, he got hurt. He had a fall and broke his elbow. And in that moment, he was like, okay, we kind of figured out what the treatment plan was going to be. He had to have his tricep reattached. And as we found that out, he went through surgery. And I mean, it was a hefty surgery. And 2 days out of surgery, he said, I need to start 75 hard. So I did it with him. But in those moments when you feel the most knocked down, that's when you push back.
That's right.
Push back in that moment.
That's when you get out of bed.
And then you get stronger, because mentally, when you believe in yourself, and each time you stand up, you believe in yourself more. You're like, oh my gosh, I actually just did that.
Right.
Exactly. I did that. And then you can do it tomorrow. And I think people look at it too far of a span out and like the whole goal, and I have to do this forever. Like, just choose it today.
Right.
And then tomorrow again. And when you beat today, you can do it tomorrow.
Right. And I love the quote, dabblers are never happy. They're always disappointed and always blaming someone else. But at the end of the day, if you're trying to dabble a little bit into this and a little bit into that, I mean, it just never really comes up fruitful.
Fulfilling.
It really doesn't.
Self-confidence is one of the biggest things that I think a lot of people have trouble with. And, you'll meet confident people, you meet really unconfident people. But I think a lot of that has to do with just, I think the best way was it Ed Milet's book? It was basically, and this is what's helped me a lot, every decision that you make, that you tell yourself you're going to do, no matter what it is, no one has to know about it, just you in your head, like, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do this week, or I'm going to go to the gym 5 times this week, and you don't do them, or I'm going to clean my house, whatever, just the minors and everything you don't do that you told yourself you're going to do, you're subconsciously losing self-confidence.
That's right.
And every time you stick to those little bitty wins in your head that no one even has to know about these,
right.
If you tell yourself you're going to do it, when you go to the gym, you say, I'm going to do this today, and you're like, I don't feel like it. Every single time you don't, whether you're like, I'm going to be really good on my diet this week, or really good on this week, or I'm going to do this for my family, and you don't do it, you're subconsciously losing self-confidence. Right. So it's like every time I don't want to do something I told myself I was going to do, I think about that, because I don't want to, I want to continue to build my confidence.
Right.
So if you tell yourself you're going to make a decision and do it. And that's how I continue to build my self-confidence, is by just making commitments to myself and keeping them.
That's the thing. It's the consistency. It's that pattern of consistency to the process, and staying committed to that process. I love chasing goals. I love helping people to achieve short-term goals. Rauchel has, competed in bodybuilding. We helped her to get on the stage. It was a great process, but that was rewarding. And I think she looked amazing. But what is more rewarding to me is to see the lifestyle that she has created and what she's actually, applying to her family, because of all that she's learning about, how to eat clean and how to stay committed to exercise.
Well, ultimately, the bodybuilding shows for me weren't anything about my body, oddly enough.
Right.
Like, ultimately, the first one I did was to prove Josh wrong, because he said I couldn't, because I didn't eat healthy enough, and I didn't work out, enough to be able to do something like that. And so I had to prove him wrong, first of all. But the benefit that I learned from it were these challenges, and that it puts me under a little bit more pressure. And again, at the beginning of the first segment, I said, you're refined under pressure. And in those moments, I'm mentally clear. So I found out some really powerful things for me in my life, that I can make shifts in my life because I'll be at the top of my game.
Yes.
And so the bodybuilding show, the body of it was just the product of it. In fact, it was probably too far gone for me, where I prefer to be even for what had to be for a show, which was fine. It was part of what I was doing, and it got me through and pulled me to a higher level mentally, because I was putting clean things in my body.
Yes.
And then when you figure that out, I couldn't just do one to prove him wrong. I was forced. I had someone quit on me, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is such a key player. I'm freaking out right now. Like, what do I even do? And the only thing I could think of to get me out of where I was at, for the level of how much I was going to have to take on, was to do another show, only because it held me to a program where I'd be so strapped in to eat so healthy that I would be so mentally clear to be able to handle my life. So it doesn't matter if you're a business owner or not. In your life, if you want to have the fruits of the best life, it helps being clear-minded and to make clear decisions, ultimately to live longer if you're making healthy choices.
Absolutely, and that is what we really spend our time at Integrity doing, is helping you to be able to make those healthier choices and just getting that ultimate balance. For more information on Integrity Training Systems, please give us a call at 636-299-2208 or take a look at us at integritytrainingsystems.com. For gluten-free, dairy-free, nutrient-dense baked goods delivered to your doorstep, take a look at sophiesbakery.com. Hey everybody, great to be back. What an awesome show this is, and I am so excited that I was able to have you guys on, and I truly just am praying and believing. I felt led on my vacation. We were on our way down to Rosemary Beach, and it was funny because Rauchel sent me a link, Josh, to your podcast, and so I normally drive the whole way to Rosemary Meet. I'm driving the big Escalade, which I know you do, and I have great respect for you, but I guess maybe I'm shorter, but I don't do a great job of driving the Escalade.
We just slide our seats very close.
I really do, right? So I drive the whole way because John will fall asleep in mid driving at noon. It doesn't matter. He just does. And so this time I had some business I had to do, and so I'm sitting in the passenger seat, which was just weird altogether. So I really needed to focus on some stuff. So, and I put your podcast on, and I did not focus at all because I ended up taking all these notes from your podcast. It was a great podcast, and I don't particularly remember which one it was, but it was really good. I got a lot of great information, and I just felt led right at that moment. I was like, oh, I want to do a show with you guys because, you know, we have a group of people that need to hear what you have to say. And I think that the one thing that the three of us has in common is that we have a heart to help people. You know, sure, maybe you're helping them with their home, okay, but sure. The funny thing is yes, that's what you do, but I've watched both of you go so far beyond what you needed to do for a person. Your staff, the same, just above and beyond in all areas. And what I often hear people say, you know, is that, you know, I don't have the resources, I don't have the capital, I don't have the time, I have kids, I have this, I have that. And the other day I was listening to Tony Robbins, and he said resources are never a problem, a lack of resourcefulness is the problem. And that really resonated with me. You know, if you want something bad enough, you'll do whatever it takes to get it, right? I
think your greatest resource is no resources.
Right? Because you fight for it.
I know that sounds weird, but
no, I agree.
Every time my back has been against the wall, I have produced the biggest outcomes because you get laser focused. Because I think sometimes we get comfortable, whether it's financially at a certain point in your business or just whatever. You might be in that zone and you're just not paying attention to the big thing.
Exactly.
And then all of a sudden you get hit with that thing and you're like, oh my gosh, and your back's against the wall and you got to pull yourself out of it. And I'm like, I've been very thankful that I've always been able to just have the consistency, the persistency, if that's even a word.
I like it.
And just you know,
it's not. We're making it.
Because like
I'm nodding my head.
You know, there's a quote. It's like the man that loves to walk will go further than the man that just goes for the destination.
Right.
So it's the journey.
Right.
And so I've always been on the journey. That's why I'm like, today's day one for us, right. Even though I've been in business 24 years.
Yes.
Because I think that my greatest resource from day one when I started this was I was kind of forced into it in a sense because I did not like school. So I went into the Carpenters Union and I started my own business, and I'm very thankful for this, but I've never taken a business loan out in 24 years.
That's awesome. Good for you.
You know, I had to make enough money to buy my first truck. I think it was $2,900. Like when I started, this is 1999.
Right.
And I had to save up enough capital for that. Yeah. You know, and then I did it, you know, and now we have 27 trucks, and too bad a truck in a van today is like $60,000.
Right.
You know, it's a work van.
Exactly.
So it's just the times have changed so dramatically. But still to this day, you know, we've always had the principle in our business is that if we can't afford it, we don't buy it.
That's
because
great.
we didn't start with something else or had a bunch of resources. And so we probably still live in that mindset a little bit. Instead of in that, you know, like, oh, this or we have this or that. Like I always look at it like I know what it's like not to.
Right.
So you better bet I'm going to
Make
fight.
sure that doesn't happen again.
Yeah, make sure that never happens
I
again.
couldn't agree more.
So that's our
I
ability.
completely agree. I've been
'Cause
there.
I didn't graduate high school. So on paper, I don't probably look very great.
Right.
Somebody right out of college would probably look great on paper, with a degree. And if I went against them, they'd probably like, well, I'm definitely hiring this guy. But I have, a quarter of a century of real world business experience now. And so that ultimately is my resume.
Yes.
Right. And so
You've mastered your craft.
and you have to, if you want to win or have any kind of greatness for your product or your business or whatever it is, everybody wants it fast. And you have to master your craft before you can have a great product or business. And everybody, with social media and everything, it's like it can happen so fast because Amazon will get your package in maybe today if you order it.
Right.
But that's not how it really works. You've been in business forever. You've been battling the up here. Entrepreneurship is not for everyone.
Right.
But a lot of people think it's a lot easier because sometimes the guys that are in entrepreneurs or women, it looks like they're just doing everything right.
Right.
It's because we're not typically on, hopefully.
Well, you don't see it when we're up until 2:30 to, I don't know, 4 o'clock in the morning doing our work from the day before to be prepared for our employees the next day.
That's right.
Because that's not...
And still prepping our food and still getting our workout in.
Yeah. That's my non-negotiables, though. I don't go to lunch with people. You've heard that story in the past, but I don't go to lunch with people because I'll do coffee meetings. I don't do lunch meetings, but
the
it's 'cause
time, but
it's
also
the
what you're
time.
putting
It's
in.
also what I'm very strict about what I eat.
Yeah,
and it's
absolutely.
very important to me.
One thing I want to say about what you said about just the journey is that, with having Jesus in our heart, God gave us the Holy Spirit to speak to us about this journey and to guide us. And it's like red light, green light. Some people say it's like, I have such great intuition. I really think that the Holy Spirit, maybe you're just more sensitive than someone else.
Right.
And so, through this journey of our business and our relationships, our lives separately and together, if something doesn't feel right, then I go back to where the peace is. And so there have been plenty of times in business that or personally that I made the wrong decision because I knew something was off. And I was just like, it's going to be fine. It's no big deal, versus waiting or backing up a little bit.
Right.
And so that has played a lot into our success over all of these years, are the consistencies, but also just listening when it's not a good thing either, and not just being persistent through disobedience ultimately.
This is a great message. I love the quote, success comes from desperation, inspiration, and never giving up. And I would say what has truly helped to make me successful and my company successful was never wavering on our values and the quality that I felt we should give to a client. And never allowing a trainer to give anything less than the best. And if they were, then it was corrected right off the bat. That wasn't what we were going to offer. And to chase after finding health first, and then looking great comes naturally when you feel great. And so to help someone to truly achieve feeling great. But through the process, if we hadn't refused to give up through difficult times, through COVID, through whatever the scenario was, there were lives that were directly connected to our obedience. And each day, that attitude of never giving up, what I hope is that we can encourage others to get up and fight just as hard, for what they are trying to achieve. So I truly appreciate you guys coming on today. It's a blessing. It's a wonderful thing to be able to get on here and know that this message could get out there and it could really trigger someone or plant a seed of blessing in someone else's life. So thank you guys both so much.
Thank you.
Well, if you have not taken a look, please get out there and type in KBUILDit.com, or to go out to Instagram or Facebook and look at KBUILD Design. You will be blown away by the workmanship. I mean, just incredible craftsmanship. They by all means are a master of their craft. And for more information on what we do at Integrity Training Systems with personal nutrition plans and personal training, you can take a look at us at integritytrainingsystems.com or give us a call at 636-299-2208. For gluten-free, dairy-free, nutrient-dense baked goods delivered to your doorstep, you can reach us at sophiesbakery.com. Thank you again for listening, and God bless.